Hey, I'm Geeky Pastimes, and here is my review for Call of Duty Vanguard. So I've had some time with the game now, I've completed the campaign, I've hit first prestige in multiplayer, and I've played as much of zombies as I'm likely to before they add something significant. So I thought now would be a good time to kind of go through each section of the game and talk about what I think of it. So there'll be a section on campaign, then on multiplayer, then on zombies. If you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the rest of my channel because I've got loads of other cool content about Call of Duty. We're going to have loads of stuff about Battlefield this week, we've got stuff about Riders Republic, and obviously we've got Halo coming up next month as well, which I'm really excited about. So Call of Duty Vanguard, let's start with the campaign. If you've played any Call of Duty campaign literally ever, you're pretty much going to know what to expect with this. And that's not to say that it's bad. The production values are very good, the writing's pretty good, the voice acting's really good. Like, I really enjoyed listening to the characters, and I thought like the conversations they have in both cutscenes and in-game were really fun. The actual cutscenes themselves look unbelievably gorgeous, like they're really kind of top tier video game cutscenes. The facial animations were just stunning, and there's some really cool environments that you get to fight in. So the first mission on a train going into Hamburg is awesome, like it's very moody, the rain looks really cool, and there's some spectacular things that happen. It actually addresses one of the complaints I had about Black Ops Cold War, is in that I didn't think Black Ops Cold War had the kind of crazy set pieces that I really like in Call of Duty games. This definitely does, although they're kind of spaced out a little bit. There's some really cool moments in this, there's some bits that look really spectacular, and there's some kind of fun things that happen. But it's hard not to feel like you've seen everything in this before. Like, every mission I was thinking, oh, this is a vehicle mission like the other vehicle missions in Call of Duty games, or this is a stealth mission, or this is a mission where you're attacking a base with loads of other soldiers around you. There's kind of almost archetypes of Call of Duty missions now, and this doesn't do anything to break the mold. There's nothing like Black Ops Cold War's KGB mission or anything like that. There's nothing where it's really trying to break away from what a Call of Duty campaign is. And it just makes you feel like no matter how high quality it is, it's all been done before, and it's just kind of, if you're someone who's played every Call of Duty game going through, you're probably getting a bit tired of these now. Like, I know I am. And like I said, it's a shame because it's definitely a good campaign. It's up there with the better Call of Duty campaigns. I'd say it doesn't quite have anything as good as Clean House from Modern Warfare, or obviously All Gillied Up or things like that from the original Modern Warfare, and it doesn't quite have the same sense of scale that something like World at War had or the original Call of Duty game had, but it's a solid game. It's like, it's fun to play. I just wish that they'd do something new with the campaigns. I wish that they'd take some more risks, try to do something a little bit different, just to kind of shake things up a little bit. There's also a weird element of kind of jankiness in it, where randomly, for example, when you're attacking an enemy base in one of the missions, you're constantly pushing through, you know, you're trying to get to the next checkpoint, and when you hit the checkpoint, all of the enemies around you just fall over dead, which is really bizarre. It's like, obviously the game is despawning them so it can spawn in more enemies or a different part of the map or something like that, but it's very strange, and it happened to me 4 or 5 times. I would run up to an area while there were still enemies kind of around, because I was going to go and fight them kind of close up, and they all just fell over dead, and like one of them even like split in half and sort of like turned into a load of guts on the floor, which was very strange. But yeah, it was a very peculiar kind of thing to happen in a game that's so polished in other regards. So if you're thinking of buying Call of Duty Vanguard just for the campaign, I would say it's probably not worth the money. I'd probably say, like, it's not really worth 70 quid just to play this very short campaign. You might as well just go back and play the campaigns from older Call of Duty games that you might be able to find a little bit cheaper. That being said, if you've bought the game anyway for one of the other modes, it's well worth playing through. It's like I said, only 5 or 6 hours of your time. It's well worth experiencing. It's a lot of fun, and some of it is very cool. Now, going on to the multiplayer mode. The multiplayer mode has absolutely blown me away. Like, this is my favourite multiplayer Call of Duty, maybe since Advanced Warfare. Like, and I know not everyone loves Advanced Warfare, but I did. It just came out at a good time for me. I had a lot of fun with it. Vanguard, I feel like I'm just having so much fun with it. I could appreciate some of the really cool stuff that was being done in Modern Warfare's multiplayer, and I know I played a lot of that. Or Black Ops Cold War, I really liked some of the game modes they had. Like, I really liked the VIP mode and stuff like that. But both of those games, I only ever really wanted to play when I was with my friends, and nearly any game is fun if you're playing with your friends. Vanguard's multiplayer, I'm actually just happy to play with pubs. I'm just happy to play it for the sake of the game. I'm really enjoying going through, leveling up the operators, leveling up the guns. There's so many maps, so when you do like quite a long gaming session, like I was just playing for 3 hours earlier today on stream, I barely saw the same map twice, because there's 16 maps at launch, like aside from the Champions Hill stuff. That's a huge amount of content and a huge amount of variety when you're going through. And I personally think all of the maps are really good. I've got 16 maps. As far as I know, only 2 of them are remakes, Dome and Castle, and they're not maps that we've seen like loads of different versions of over and over again. So I'm quite happy to have them back. I'm really enjoying Dome actually, especially. I think that's a really cool map. And all of the maps seem to have something different about them, something a little bit unique about them. I think the destruction has helped a lot with that. That there's a lot of maps, like Decoy, for example, where the map is very, very different at the beginning of the match compared to at the end, because so many of the walls are destructible. I think the destruction is on a much larger level than I think people maybe expected. Like, it really does change the game when you've got lots and lots of different barriers that will be gone by the end of the match. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. There are some things that aren't so great about it, mostly the lack of modes. Like, you've only got the base modes, because I'm guessing every season they're going to add a couple more modes in. I kind of get a bit annoyed that that happens every time a new Call of Duty comes out now, that because they want to do the season updates and they want to do the mid-season updates, they've got to restrict all of the modes they give us. So we don't have things like Capture the Flag, we don't have Gun Game, we don't have Sticks and Stones, and all of those games, you know they're going to come back at some point. We don't have Prop Hunt either, which is a shame. All of those sorts of things, I'm guessing, will come back in at some point, but we're going to have to wait until the season comes in because they want to sort of pad out the seasonal content. But it's hard to complain when you've got so many maps, and you've got Champions Hill, and Champions Hill's a lot of fun. I haven't spent a lot of time with it in this. I spent loads of time with it, obviously, in a Champion Hill alpha, but once they start doing like tournaments where they give away prizes and stuff like they did for Gunfight, I assume they'll do something like that, then I'm going to get back into it, because I think that's a very cool mode as well. There's loads of other things to praise about the multiplayer. I think the sound is really good. I've heard some people complain about footsteps like they always do, but to me the sound has been brilliant, and I really like how different everything sounds when you're indoor compared to outdoors, or if you're in a cave on like Numa Numa or something. Everything sounds very, very different. They've done a really, really good job with that. I think the kill streaks are really good. The kill streaks aren't anywhere near as overpowered as they have been in other Call of Duty games, so even things like the big firebombing run, which is one of the hardest kill streaks to get, still only affects a small part of the map. It doesn't like cover the whole map like the white phosphorus thing did before. I think that's a really, really good idea, that like all of the kill streaks are kind of avoidable in some way, or at least only affect a small part of the map, so it's not going to kind of dominate the whole match. I think that's very cool. There's also loads of cool things, like cool new things with the field upgrades. I really like that one of the field upgrades, the Cypher thing, lets you kind of keep your kill streak when you die. That's a really cool idea, like, and it changes things up, and it, you know, uses up your field upgrade slots, so there's a little bit of risk reward in that. I think that's a good idea. I'm not a massive fan of the attachment system of every gun having 10 attachments and all of those, you know, there being a million different attachments for every single thing. I'm sure it's going to make for an interesting time in Warzone, and it's going to be really good for people who like making videos about meta loadouts and stuff like that. But to me, it just seems like kind of unnecessary bloat. Like, I'm constantly unlocking new attachments, and then I look at them and it's like, why would I ever want to use that? Like, that's such a strange thing to have. I really would like it if they refined the attachment system a little bit more, so you only had meaningful ones. You know, you had a choice of, do you want to use a compensator or suppressor? Do you want to use an extended mag or a fast mag? Do you want to use an ACOG scope or a sniper scope or iron sights or a red dot sight? Stuff like that I personally would much prefer, but I get that there's some people who really enjoy tinkering with stuff. Obviously, there have been some bugs with the launch, like the camos in particular. The camo challenges don't seem to be tracking properly, and there's a couple of other weird little things that can happen, like, especially with the kill cams at the end, you can kind of sometimes fall through the map, or it goes really weird. But generally, it's been a pretty solid launch. I haven't had any trouble finding games. I haven't had much trouble, like, partying up with people or anything like that. So it's been a really solid multiplayer launch, and I'm very, very impressed with it. I didn't expect to enjoy the multiplayer as much as I am. I thought I was just going to really be playing zombies and then waiting for Warzone, but I was dead wrong. So, speaking of zombies, the last part of it, I will talk about zombies. I obviously did that video that did quite well, talking about like all of the different things I didn't like about zombies, and I also have a video about things that they could improve on it. I've had a few days now to think about it and sort of hear other people's opinions about it. I'm still pretty much of the same opinion that this zombies is pretty much a disaster. I really do think that they would have been better off not having a zombies mode at all at launch. And then maybe, once it was ready, like a few months later, having that as a kind of surprise mid-year thing. Like, imagine if this game had just launched with campaign and multiplayer. I think lots of people would have been like, oh yeah, it feels like it's a bit bare bones because you don't have those extra modes. But people would have enjoyed multiplayer, so maybe that would have been able to keep it going. But then, imagine if in like, you know, I don't know, March, April, May time, they suddenly launched a surprise zombies mode and it was polished and it had everything we wanted in it. That would have been awesome. Instead, you've got this mode kind of dragging it down, where when people say, oh, what do you think of Vanguard so far? I always need to be like, oh yeah, well, the multiplayer is amazing, but the zombies is terrible. And that's a real shame that it's kind of dragged it down that way. I really don't see any kind of positive side to zombies in this time. Like, there's nothing about it that I'm thinking this is better than what zombies was like previously. Like, I don't like the fact that everything's so much more expensive with the perks and the upgrades. I don't think the perk upgrades are very interesting. They're just like percentage increases, which is kind of boring. I think the Altar of Covenants has been a massive wasted opportunity because there's so few perks you can get through that. It means that every game, by the time you've got to like level 5 or 6, you've probably seen all of the different perks that you could possibly get. And that's a real shame. Like, that makes it less interesting. The weapons, like, we've gone back to the shotguns are better than everything else again, so why would you use anything else other than a shotgun? The zombie variety is very, very poor. The maps aren't interesting at all. There's nothing to do in them. There's nothing kind of unique about them. They're all just play spaces taken from whether it's campaign or taken from multiplayer or whatever, with a few skulls dotted around. Like, that seems to pretty much be it. All of the stuff that was hyped up about the artifacts, like the entities talking a lot and there being a lot more operator voice lines, that gets very tedious because it repeats very quickly. They talk so much that you hear the same lines over and over again, even within a single game. And that's the thing that I've heard from a lot of people is, by the time, if you play one game and you get to like level 10, by the time you get to level 10, you've already seen everything, you've already heard everything, and you're kind of sick of it. Now, I know there are people that have been enjoying this. I know that I'm definitely not, like, part of the only opinion. Like, there's definitely other people who have been having fun with zombies. I just personally don't see it. Those people who are enjoying it seem to be just talking about the camo grind, just going for Dark Ether, which to me looks pretty ugly this time round. I can't see the fun in that at all. It's a real shame. I really do think that the zombies mode kind of drags Vanguard down. So, overall, what are my thoughts on Vanguard? If you're the sort of person that enjoys playing Call of Duty multiplayer, if you've got friends that play Call of Duty multiplayer or anything like that, you're not going to go wrong with this game. It's an amazing multiplayer, like, set of content. You've got so many maps, like all of these new operators and new weapons and everything like that. It feels like a really fresh multiplayer game, and I'm having an absolute blast of it. If you're thinking about buying it for a campaign, probably wouldn't. It's a lot of money. See if you can rent it somewhere or something like that, or wait for a sale. It's a huge amount of money for a very, very short campaign that's very similar to all of the other Call of Duty campaigns. If you're thinking about buying it for zombies, I 100% would not buy this right now. I'd wait to see what they add to zombies, wait to see what's happening. You're not missing out on anything by not being able to play it now. You shouldn't have any fear of missing out. Like, there's nothing to do in zombies at the moment. So I would 100% just wait to see what they announce later on in the year. Maybe they'll turn it around, maybe they'll add some really cool stuff and they were just a bit rushed for launch. Let's hope that that's the case, but at the moment I definitely wouldn't buy it just for zombies. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.